Dr. Manmohan Singh, Honorable Prime Minister of India, Chris, Gopal Krishnan, Ajay Sriram, Chandrajit Banerjee, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor and privilege for me to welcome this august audience to the CII National Conference and Annual General Meeting 2013. It is a very special honor to welcome Dr. Manmohan Singh, Honorable Prime Minister of India, to the inaugural session of the National Conference once more after a gap of 4 years. Honorable Prime Minister, sir, you have graciously addressed several CII national conferences in the past, and your astute guidance and wise counsel have always steered industry into new avenues that have greatly benefited us and our nation. In your address to the CII National Conference in 2007, at a time when the Indian economy was at the height of its growth trajectory, you had exhorted industry to engage in, and I quote, the pursuit of socially, politically, environmentally, and financially sustainable growth processes. On that occasion, you had invited corporate India to be a partner in making Indian society more humane and just. You had laid out a 10-point social charter for industry that encompassed employment creation, particularly for less privileged sections of society, investment in people, innovation, and responsible engagement with society based on Mahatma Gandhi's notion of trusteeship. So the following year, at the CII annual meeting, you had expressed to us your concerns about the stability of the global financial system and its management, as well as its impact on the sustainability of global growth. This was indeed prescient, as circumstances later proved when the tsunami of the global financial crisis hit the world just a few months later. At that time, you foresaw the developments which the world chose to ignore, and the results are there for everyone to see. The world has not yet recovered from the mismanagement of the financial system in those years. Developing economies, like India, were particularly hard hit through no fault of theirs, as the resultant global recessionary conditions set back our own aspirations for poverty alleviation and rapid development. So at that time, the adroit and astute macroeconomic management unveiled by you and your team helped mitigate the adverse impact of the global economic crisis. India's recovery was swift. However, since 2008, the world has been beset by further vulnerabilities. This, as well as flagging of domestic demand, has led to deep slowdown of the Indian economy over the last several quarters. Today, we face several economic challenges relating to growth revival, inflation management, current account deficit, and deceleration of savings and investments. At this time, sir, we again look to you to lead the country out of the challenging circumstances and reviving our growth engines. A little more than 2 decades after the liberalization process was initiated by you, India stands with pride among the leading economies of the world. So in this hall, we have people who have made India proud with their enterprise and innovation. This is the group which has changed the image of India in many positive ways. However, in the midst of these achievers and achievements, CII has not lost sight of the fact that India is home to the largest number of poor people in the world. Our development indicators do not do justice to our aspirations, and millions of our fellow citizens do not live a life of dignity. Therefore, it is only obvious that for the next 2 decades, India has no option but to have a high growth rate, creating sufficient wealth for us to be able to improve the lives of our countrymen. Parallelly, we have to ensure that our social interventions are adequate, efficient, and growth-oriented. In this context, may I take this opportunity to refer to some of the points you had raised with CII earlier. During the intervening period, CII has internalized the costs that you suggested for us. We have significantly stepped up our engagement in building human capacity through skill development. 30 ITIs have been adopted by CII members, and impact studies of all 100 ITI taken up by CII members are completed or ongoing. Skill hubs at Chhindwara, Balasore, and Bhiwadi are operational in different trades with a capacity to train 1,500 to 3,000 students per year. 12 skill gurukuls are also functioning, training about 1,000 candidates. 5 sector skill councils are underway for various areas as well. Our engagement with the vulnerable sections of society has gathered momentum. In the last 1 year alone, CII has reached out to about 50,000 scheduled caste and scheduled tribe beneficiaries through scholarships, vocational training, and other initiatives. We are working towards building linkages with SC and ST entrepreneurs through vendor development meets. CII is conscious that industry cannot survive in societies that have failed, and we have been active in many aspects of social development to ensure the fruits of development touch the lives of all Indians. We have been working in areas such as livelihood development, health, disability, women's empowerment, and corporate social responsibility. Environmental sustainability of industry's growth is another focus area for CII. Over the last year, CII has been working with the theme of reviving economic growth through reforms and governance. We partnered closely with the governments, both at the central and the state levels, towards this objective. But these are challenging times, and while we hope for an early revival, we must find means of sustaining a high growth trajectory for the country. At CII, we have always referred to your vision and understanding of the economy, and once again, we look to you to help the country navigate these troubled waters. The theme for this year's national conference has been laid out as India of Tomorrow, Imperatives of Growth, Security, and Governance. Let me outline some of the issues that industry believes can unlock the potential of the India of tomorrow. 1. The GST is one of the most critical reforms that will kickstart a new cycle of growth. We believe that it can add about 1.5 to 2 percentage points to the GDP growth rate, as it will impact efficiencies to national competitiveness and help reduce transaction costs. We are grateful that several CII suggestions have been accepted with regard to the implementation of the GST. We do hope that the monsoon session of Parliament will see further movement on the bill so that it can be speedily implemented. Similarly, the Direct Taxes Code will be a game changer for economic reforms, as the tax structure will hopefully be simplified and rationalized, and we are keenly looking forward to a new draft. 2, we appreciate the establishing of the Cabinet Committee on Investments to go into large project implementation. Clarity on environmental clearances also offers comfort to investors. We urge the government to take up 50 high-impact projects for rapid deployment to revive key manufacturing sectors upstream and downstream. 3, we welcome the rationalization of fuel prices that greatly contribute to fiscal consolidation. However, the fuel linkage issues, particularly in coal availability, as well as financial health of DISCOMs, continue to be of concern and would require to be speedily addressed. Energy security would be vital to our economic growth, which is presently dependent on imported fuel. 4 is the issue of good economics versus good politics. At CII, we tend to believe that good economics can indeed be good politics. However, all too often we have seen economic imperatives being overtaken by political expediency. India is the largest functioning parliamentary democracy, and we cherish the political system and institutions of our republic. However, we have reached a critical phase in our economic history. With the largest young population in the world, the need for creating productive employment cannot be overemphasized. We have to create livelihoods for millions of people over the next decade for us to ensure that our demography indeed pays a dividend, it does not become the source of a threat. I am not aware of any government in the history of the world which has been tasked with creating the scale of livelihood opportunities that India is faced with today. Sir, CII believes this to be the responsibility of every section of the country which has the means to contribute to this effort. It would include every political party, be it in the ruling coalition or in the opposition. It would include industry, small, medium or large. It would mean the administrative machinery of the government, in other words, the bureaucracy. It would mean the responsible civil society. It would mean every education institution. It would also mean the senior members of media who help mold and create opinion. Sir, you are a visionary and a statesman who is respected the world over for his sagacity, erudition, and experience. It is therefore that on behalf of CII, I am being so bold as to suggest to you that you consider creating an institutional forum where political leaders from the government and the opposition can sit together with other relevant stakeholders to ensure that key economic imperatives can be taken forward irrespective of the political compulsions of the day. Can there be a National Council for Economic Growth? Sir, such an initiative is not known to have been taken in recent times in other democracies, but that should not be a reason for us to not make a role model of ourselves for others to follow. Let us demonstrate to the world that good politics and good economics are intertwined. Sir, finally, and above all, we greatly appreciate your personal stress on governance. The direct benefit transfer scheme will greatly improve systems and plug leakages, while the proposed legislative steps would impart the much-needed clarity and transparency to the governance environment. At our end, CII has been working on propagating corporate governance in a determined manner, and I assure you that it will remain a top priority for us. This is imperative if India is to successfully align with global markets. The India of tomorrow will depend vitally on its young and resourceful people. Education, skill development, and employment creation would be the central themes of economic growth going forward. CII's commitment to these issues would remain at the highest levels. Sir, we look to you for further guidance. Let me once again thank you for being our chief guest, and we look forward to your views and direction. Thank you, sir.